Okay, we just got done talking about some running backs that we should buy. Really, we're at least how I'm approaching it is I'm kind of looking at situations, what I think is going to happen, what's going to improve from 2019 to 2020. And now we're looking at the opposite. We're talking about running backs we're going to sell. So I'm looking at running backs that I think their situation is going to get worse. Maybe they don't have job security going into the 2020 season. And I mean, a lot of things happen from now until the season. We got free agency and we have the NFL draft, two just massive scares for all these veteran running backs. But do you want to start us off with a running back that you're selling?
Yeah, so this is a guy that I've never liked. I got him out of necessity in a league this year, and I'm trying desperately to sell him, and that's Melvin Gordon.
Oh,
I've never loved Melvin Gordon. He's always been like that fringe guy that you kind of feel icky when you have to draft him as your RB1.
yeah.
But he's a free agent this year, unrestricted free agent, and that scares me because he wants money and he's already been denied it. And so I don't think he's going to get paid like he wants to, and I think he's going to have to accept a spot that is less than ideal for him. And so there's risk there. And I think with just name value alone, name recognition alone, you can still get something for him. And so I would do that. And I'm going to attempt to do that. Maybe a package deal where you send him plus something and you get an upgrade. But like I would be trying to sell him for picks. Definitely.
Yeah.
I think you can get the guy that replaces him. But if I can get a mid to early first for him, maybe a late first plus, that's kind of the range that I'm looking, because he still has enough name recognition. So I'm pretty much all out on Melvin Gordon. I don't want to own him anywhere, but he's a guy that's still just barely valuable enough to where you want to the risk of selling him versus keeping him is worth it to sell.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think I would move him for any first round pick in a super flex rookie draft,
Yeah.
just because, I mean, we see him tweeting out, like, quote tweeting Derrick Henry's rushing stats saying, like, oh, and we don't matter, like, referring to the running back position. Like, I mean, he clearly wants to get paid. And I think that just teams aren't going to be willing to do it after seeing Todd Gurley, David Johnson, Le'Veon Bell. I mean, at some point, they're going to realize that. I mean, every team's just going to look at these running backs and say, you're not worth it. Like, we're not giving you any guaranteed money,
Right.
which, I mean, I feel really bad for him,
Right.
but it's kind of the nature of the position. So I think that he's going to end up in a very bad spot. He's going to end up in a committee. I don't think he's going to be a feature down running back. And he's living off name value alone at this point. He also, I mean, he's dealt with injuries. He has a ton of carries. So I think great guy. I mean, everyone's trying to sell him, but for great reason. And let me jump into a sell that I think everyone's actually looking to buy right now. So I'm trying to zig when these people are zagging, and that's Kenyan Drake. Everyone is loving Kenyan Drake right now. And I just can't fully buy into it. Yes, he was amazing in 2019 in that Cardinals offense. That Cardinals offense is amazing for running back production. But I don't know if he's going to, I doubt he's going to be the feature back there. It would be very surprising to me. They have David Johnson under contract for one more year, and I'm maybe just a David Johnson fanboy, but I kind of refuse to believe that he went from being one of the elite best running backs in the league to just complete dust. Just to, I mean, in 2019 he looked bad. He just looked slow. He looked fat. But I have to believe that some of it's due to injury. I don't think he was fully healthy in 2019. And even if, say, he's a subpar talent to Kenyan Drake at this point in his career, I don't think that the Cardinals are going to be willing to give Kenyan Drake the feature down role like they did in 2019, because just they're giving David Johnson so much money. And on top of that, David Johnson has to be better in 2020 than he was in 2019.
I think the part of the reason there, or part of the thing there is we don't know if he's going to end up in Arizona.
I think he is, though. I think Cliff Kingsbury has said enough reports about, like, enough things about him. That's where I'm projecting him going.
And that's totally likely, but you just have to look how much are they willing to pay the running back position. They
Yeah.
already have so much money in David Johnson. Are you willing, like, is your GM willing to pay two running backs? And I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe the GM says, yeah, Kenyan Drake's been great, but you know, we can't afford to pay him. Let's just draft someone. And
I mean, but how much money do you think Kenyan Drake's going to command? I mean, he was really good for 4 games. You know what I mean?
yeah, he was really good for 4 games. I mean,
Yeah.
what you pay him 10 mil for one season? You know, like that's
Is he? I don't. I think he's cheaper than that. I don't think these teams are going to be willing to pay him. But
I don't think they will either. But I think that's kind of where he's going to ask is
yeah,
back 2-tier money, and then all of
yeah,
a sudden, what's David Johnson 12 mil this year? All of a sudden, you're paying the running back position $20 million in
yeah,
20, even if he's let's say it's 8 mil for this year, right? You're paying close to $20 million just to the running back position. That's severely
yeah.
limiting,
That's it's horrible.
right? And so,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, the GM can make that decision, but if it goes wrong, he's done. Like
yeah,
he put way too much money into a position that doesn't matter, and like so that's a risk that the GM's got to be like, all right, well, is this going to pay off? Do I want to take this risk for my professional career as well to put this much money into the running back position? So that's kind of what I look at there is you got to look at the contract situation and what Kenyan Drake's going to demand, because what if he gets a chance in Tampa Bay? You know,
yeah.
what if Tampa Bay's like, yeah, we'll pay you 8 mil, and
That would be ridiculous.
you know, or so like yeah, he could get that kind of a deal. What if Washington wants to pay him, right? And
Hmm.
they move on from AP and they're like, we'll get Kenyan Drake. Or what if LA the Chargers say, hey, you know, we're not going to pay Melvin Gordon, but we could get Kenyan Drake for significantly less, and maybe he's better. So
Yeah,
there are going to be a bunch of teams that vie for him, and maybe he lands in a good spot, maybe he doesn't. We're unsure. So he's obviously not going to go anywhere where there is a feature back currently. But I think that's a great sell, because and his value is something that's interesting to me, because if I'm selling him, I want a first, right? But if I'm
yeah,
buying him, I'm not so sure that I want to give up a first. So if someone's willing to pay a first round pick for him straight up, by all means, like I'll take that. I will 100% take the first round pick, because that's guaranteed to only go up in value at this point, and we're very unsure with Kenyan Drake.
yeah. You know, I see. My thing with Kenyan Drake is I think I would rather sell now, and then if he does land in a great spot, I would rather wait until before the season and then go and overpay for him. Then, you know, like I would rather just get rid of all the risk in him going out in free agency and seeing what situation he lands in. And I'd rather just wait, and maybe have to pay a little bit more than what I sold him for
Yeah,
5 years from now.
yeah, and that's fine, because at that point you'll know what you're getting,
Yeah.
right? And so you know you're getting proper value for him. I don't think, yeah, if I could get a first for him right now, I would absolutely sell that. I'm even considering paying a little bit more and trying to move up and get an earlier first, where it's, oh, let's do Kenyan Drake, and say a guy really likes the Packers, throw in Geronimo Allison or Marquez Valdez-Scantling or Alan Lazard or something like that, and
Yeah.
you sell one of those wide receiver threes with upside with Kenyan Drake, and now you get a first round pick. So of a
Yeah.
guy that like I don't ever really see starting for me, that I can pair with a Kenyan Drake to get more value. So I think that's kind of the move that I'm going to try and make in all the places I own him.
I mean, if I could do that, I definitely would. But
Yeah.
I think that's enough time on Kenny Drake. Do you want to give us one more sell?
Yeah. So the other sell that I have, and this one's a little bit controversial, but I'm gonna say sell Derrick Henry.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like
Hmm.
he's the running back one, and people are saying, are you gonna take him with your number one pick in a startup? Are you gonna take him with the 101 in a startup? And as soon as a guy gets 101 in a startup consideration, it's got to be sell. You can get a king's ransom for him, and he's worth it. Like he was
Yeah.
dominant this year, but I think there's so much that I don't like about his game, that like I just would rather sell him at his peak than hang on. I don't know what he's going to do. He's also an unrestricted free agent. I assume they're going to sign him again because he was so good for them. But
Yeah. I think the people of Tennessee will burn the city to the ground if they don't re-sign Derrick Henry after winning that Baltimore game.
absolutely. So he's a guy that I'm going to sell. I'm going to get as much as I can for him, and I'm going to get a lot of good talent. But he's someone that I think at this point I'd be fine selling.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Derrick Henry is I have him in a couple spots, and I've actually tried moving him. I haven't in the past 2 weeks, but right after the season I did. And it's weird with him because his startup value will be there. Like I think he'll be in the first round of ADP this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, like how you said you had a bunch of question marks about his game. That's true with a lot of people. I think Derrick Henry he has his fans who love him more than anything, and in their eyes, he's the best football player to ever play the game. And then there are the people who just are kind of doubting him because he's such an outlier.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a guy that your trade partners are going to be limited, but if you can find someone who absolutely loves him, I think you can get the world for him.
Yeah. And at that point, I'm willing to sell.